So if you're into mountain biking and you love hardtails, you've probably heard of Chromag, a bike company located in Canada that makes a multitude of parts, but they're known specifically for their steel hardtail mountain bikes. What makes Chromag frames special is that they're handmade in either Canada or Taiwan. The main difference though is that the Canadian-made frames are built by one person, start to finish, whereas the Taiwan frames are built by a team, but they're still handmade. And for the last 19 years, Chromag has only made hardtails, but that's now changed, and there are now 3 full suspension models available. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the geometry, builds, specs, and pricing for these new full suspension models, and see if they maintain the quality that's made Chromag famous in the bike industry. First up is the Darko, which is made of 4130 chromoly steel and is designed using 29-inch wheels. While the frame is mostly steel, Chromag opted to using 6066 aluminum chainstays. Chromag did this for a couple of different reasons. First, aluminum is much lighter, and the aluminum provided the stiffness that Chromag was looking for. Second, is that the chainstay also houses the bearings, which are much harder to do in steel. The recommended fork travel for the Darko is 150 millimeters, but Chromag says it's okay to use a fork anywhere between 140 and 160 millimeters of travel. The Darko also has 120 millimeters of rear travel, using a trunnion shock and a 4-bar suspension layout with the main pivot located just above the bottom bracket. In order to keep the maintenance simple, there's no hidden hardware or complex multi-link pivots. All the pivots can be bolt checked, accessed, and worked on without having to take the whole bike apart. The Darko has a 64-degree head angle, a 78-degree seat angle, and 435mm chainstays. It's also only available as a complete build. The build comes with the RockShox Lyric Select Plus fork, a RockShox Super Deluxe Ultimate shock, SRAM G2 RSC brakes with 180mm rotors, a SRAM GX drivetrain with a 12-speed 50-tooth cassette, Chromag Phase 30 wheels with Chromag R4 hubs, Maxxis Mini tires with a DHF in the front and a DHR in the rear, a RockShox Reverb dropper post, and the cockpit and touch points are Chromag in-house parts. The complete build will be available in either dark olive or dark gray, and a retail for $5,170. And at the time of this recording, I couldn't find any information on the frame-only option. But let's say you want the Darko. You want something a little more special than the regular chromoly steel. Well, Chromag has you covered, and offers the Darko in a titanium frame as well. The Darko titanium has identical geometry, and the build is basically the same as well. The only difference in the build is that the titanium model comes with SRAM X01 drivetrain instead of the GX drivetrain. The complete build will be available as a polished frame that highlights the raw, simple beauty of the titanium, and it will retail for $7,600. And if you wish to purchase the frame only, you can have it for $4,375. And last up is the Lowdown, which is Chromag's Enduro Smasher, which is made of 4130 chromoly steel, and it's designed using 29-inch wheels. And just like the Darko models, Chromag also decided to use the aluminum chainstays on the Lowdown as well. The recommended fork travel is 170 millimeters, but Chromag says it's okay to use a fork anywhere between 160 and 180 millimeters of travel. The Lowdown has 158 millimeters of rear travel, and just like the Darko model, it uses the trunnion shock and a 4-bar suspension layout. The Lowdown has a 63.5-degree head angle, a 79-degree seat tube angle, and 440mm chainstays, and a longer wheelbase than the Darko model, ranging from about 18 to 24 millimeters depending on the size. The complete build comes with the RockShox Zeb Ultimate fork, a RockShox Super Deluxe Ultimate shock, SRAM Code RSC brakes with 200mm rotors, a SRAM GX drivetrain with a 12-speed 50-tooth cassette, Chromag BA30 wheels with Chromag R4 hubs, Maxxis Mini tires with a DHF in the front and a DHR in the rear with double down casing, a RockShox Reverb dropper post, and the cockpit and touch points are all Chromag in-house parts. It appears that the complete build will be available in either black or green, and will retail for $6,000. And at the time of this recording, I couldn't find any information on the frame-only option. And if you're hoping to get a Lowdown ASAP, you're going to be disappointed, since it won't be available until spring of 2023. Overall, I'm really excited that Chromag has designed a full suspension mountain bike. I think the more competition there is, the better. And I do wish the prices were a tad bit cheaper, but Chromag bikes and frames have always been pretty expensive, since they're handmade and their quality is legendary. And I'm hoping one day I can get my hands on one to review. But until then, if you have one, or have ridden either a Darko or a Lowdown, please let me know your thoughts and impressions in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great one.